Welcome to Popcorn Planet.
Hey up everyone, it's me, Steph, the alternative, filling in for Andy whilst he's on a well-deserved break with a family holiday over the weekend. He's completely offline, so whilst the cat's away, the mice will play. And guess who I have with me for today's live? It's Kim in the house. Yes. Hello. How are you doing today?
Good. I am good. I'm so happy to be here with you. I love hanging out with Steph. I love hanging out with all of you. It's going to be fun.
Ladies' night. Well, guys, this is interesting because the news is out there. Jennifer Howell, it looks like, is going to be testifying next week, is going to go on the stand. Now, what I'm about to say, very, very important, guys. We're going to be going through a document that is highly disputed, as you can imagine, from Team Amber. I also read as well at some point that Team Amber have even questioned or disputing the validity of the document that we're going through in terms of how it was obtained in the first place, okay? So do bear that in mind whilst we go through Jennifer Howell's declaration back in 2020. I have found it and we're going to go through it because, again, highly disputed. I'm going to say off the back, this is highly all alleged information that Jennifer Howell has put in the declaration. And in the words of me, it's all her opinion, her conspiracy, her theory, her whatever, guys. So with that being said, let's crack into this. So this was Jennifer Howell's declaration. So she says, I, Jennifer Howell, declare as follows, that she's over the age of 18, not party to this action. She has first-hand personal knowledge of the facts set forth below, and if called as a witness, could completely testify thereto. Now, Whitney Henriquez, her maiden name was Whitney Heard, is my dear friend. She has told me that I am her chosen sister. I also call her my chosen sister. So right off the bat, she's not just describing this, in her opinion, as just, a working relationship, a friendship. She literally, treated Whitney, from what I can gather here, as a family, saying, the sister, to be fair, when I don't just call Andy and Lewis my mates anymore. I call them my brothers, family to me, it's something more. Does that make sense, Kim?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, this is the bit. So in terms of who Jennifer Howell is, for those that don't know, she explains that Whitney worked for her at a non-profit organisation that she founded 22 years ago and runs, called the Art of Elysium. So Jennifer Howell is in effect a CEO of the charity, a very well-known charity called the Art of Elysium. What do? She explains that they take artists and help them be of service to communities in need. They serve over 30,000 individuals in need each year. Whitney volunteered for the organisation in 2014 for about 6 months, and she worked full-time as a paid employee for me in 2015-2016, where Whitney served as Art Salon Manager / Director. Now, we're going to get onto it in a moment, but later on down in terms of the declaration, because you've got Amber Heard's sister, who volunteered and worked for the Art of Elysium at one point, for Jennifer Howell. Okay. You also have, because I remember this extremely clearly, Amber Heard publicly supporting the Art of Elysium back in the day. I definitely remember that. So I wonder why, and this is just a question, just questioning it out there, bit of speculation. I wonder why in her divorce settlements, some of that quote unquote money wasn't pledged to the Art of Elysium.
I don't know.
Well, we're going to get onto that a little bit later down in this declaration, because again, it's all alleged. Jennifer has her thoughts on that. So, number 4, Jennifer says, I've learnt that Whitney testified in court July 23rd in London. This is the scum, the Sun, trial about a not very nice incident in March 2015 on the stairs at Johnny Depp's penthouse. Bear in mind, guys, just as a side note, I do have to water down some of the language just because of YouTube. She testified that Johnny supposedly wasn't physically nice to Amber and Whitney on the stairs at Johnny's downtown penthouse. Then Whitney said she had to go to live with her employer where she had to sleep on their floor. I am that employer. This is not what I was told to be true. Again, this is all alleged. First, Whitney came to live in the guest room of my apartment on Wilshire Boulevard, not on my floor, but in my guest room. Second, when Whitney arrived, she was a mess. Whitney told me she tried to stop her sister, Amber, from not being physically nice to Johnny on the stairs. Whitney said when she tried to intervene to stop Amber from going after Johnny, Amber nearly physically caused Whitney to go down the stairs. She told me she was worried Amber was going to unalive Johnny. She told me she had endured that kind of not very nice kind of behavior her entire life, first from her father, and then from Amber, who she said was extremely not physically nice. She lived with me because she did not feel she could go back to live at the Eastern Columbia building, the ECB. My father reminded me this morning that I told him that Whitney had moved in with me because she was terrified of her sister. Now, if we just talk about this section for a moment, right? So, last night on the stream for Popcorn Planet, we talked about this part a little bit, but we're going into a little bit more detail now that we're going through this declaration, which again is highly, highly disputed by Team Amber in terms of the content and apparently how it was obtained as well, how it was declared. So bear that in mind. But firstly, the bit where I'm like, what the hell is Whitney saying that she went to her employer, i.e. Jennifer Howell, and slept on the floor.
Mhm.
Kim, what do you think to that?
I don't know. There's so much about this. It's so loaded. Like, I feel like every line we could break down and get like super into. Yeah, I'm just trying, like, it's a lot.
Yeah.
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 It's crazy.
The thing is,
But,
right? Sorry, go on, Lass.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't believe that she slept on the floor. I mean, I think you mentioned it yesterday on stream that it's like if you have someone come and stay at your house, you don't let them sleep on the floor. Right? Like you said that yesterday, and it's like, no, it's absolutely true. I can't tell you how many times, like if we've had a lot of people over and like the guest rooms won't fit everybody and we run out of couches, it's like, okay, I will go and I will like sleep on like our collapsible mattress on the floor. You take my bed. Okay, thanks. Like I'm that person. It sounds like you are too, Steph. You don't let people sleep on the floor.
Especially when at the end of the day, you've got a guest room that's not being used. You're going to let a person that you employ, that you call a sister, sleep on the floor when you've got a perfectly all right guest room that she can sleep in on a freaking bed.
I wonder if she slept on like a Japanese futon that you can like take out and put on the floor. So technically she was on the floor, but it was like a comfortable bed on the floor. Like, you know what I mean? Like I want to know. Tell me this bed. What is this bed?
I know. Oh my goodness. But yeah, that's the first thing. The second thing is that she essentially is turning around and disputing Whitney's version of events, saying that, do you know what? It wasn't Amber against it wasn't Johnny against Amber. It was Amber against Johnny. And that it wasn't Johnny that nearly caused Whitney to tumble downstairs. It was actually Amber. Now, to be fair, this is really a case of, well, who do you think's more credible in terms of who you're going to believe here? Because, guys, keeping it 100, this is a he said, she said, or she said kind of situation, right? But in terms of just, what you think so far, who do you think's more credible? Whitney or Jennifer? I
kind of get this feeling. Okay, this is opinion.
Mm.
My opinion.
Yeah.
I think it's much more likely that family would lie for family than an employer would lie for an ex-employee. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got to look at where people have their allegiance.
Mm.
Jennifer didn't have to say anything. She really didn't. But she did.
Yeah.
And normally people don't do that unless they feel highly compelled to do so for whatever reason.
Mm. And a lot of people at the moment in the chat are saying Jennifer. They feel that Jennifer is essentially the more credible one at the moment. So absolutely fair enough. For me, I've read through this document and I'll be very honest with you, I don't know.
Yeah.
I actually don't know. I'm a little bit on the fence for this because she describes her as a sister. Families fall out and it can turn quite resentful. But then at the end of the day, if you take that aside, again, I mean, we'll go through it, but just this example here of Whitney saying she slept on the floor, but Jennifer turning around and saying, no, I had a guest bed. Like, what the hell? She slept on bed. Well, then that makes more sense that she'd sleep on bed if there's a guest room. So I don't know. Let's read through a little bit more and see if that fence kind of moves for me, guys, as we read through it and analyze it at this point. So she says, and again, all the way through, just to keep it 100, this is all alleged. Team Amber completely disputes pretty much every single word of what this declaration says, let alone I've read that they even dispute how the declaration was obtained in the first place and submitted, so bear that in mind. While Whitney was living with me, she told me Johnny kept checking in to see how she was doing and that he called her sis and she called him brother, which, yeah, we know that. So that's absolutely true. Whitney said to me on multiple occasions that she didn't know why he was staying in the relationship, nor why he was putting up with Amber's basically nastiness. Whitney shared with me the damage endured by both her and Amber as children, and injuries she had suffered from Amber, both psychologically and physically. Whitney was devastated during this time and my heart broke for her. Now, this particular section 5 that we're seeing here, for me, I absolutely believe, not fact, because again, we've got to be careful, but believe that Amber's the aggressor and Johnny is the victim in all of this, right? And so you've got Jennifer here describing Whitney allegedly saying, look, Amber was the aggressor in the stairs incident, right? And that Whitney's explaining a little bit more that Amber's also aggressive to Whitney as well, allegedly. Kim, what do you think to this part here?
Part 5 in full?
Yeah.
The first thing that jumps out at me is I think a lot of us thought it was interesting that Whitney was not cross-examined. And I wonder if that was deliberate. Because I've noticed that when Whitney was on the stand talking, if you looked at Johnny, he looked wrecked. He looked so upset. And I think he really does still in some way care very much about Whitney. That's my own opinion based on what I saw from body language. So here, like reading that it's like they called each other like sis and brother and they had that type of a relationship. I think that in a weird way, Johnny's trying to protect her. And that kind of lines up in my brain with that when I read that.
I wonder though if the cross-examination of Whitney is actually the examination and testimony of Jennifer Howell when they bring her up on stand next week.
It might be.
And that's the equivalent of the actual cross-examination of Whitney.
But it's going to be on Jennifer. It's not going to be on Whitney.
True.
You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But Jennifer,
But
Jennifer, by all accounts, is completely contradicting pretty much everything that Whitney's saying, right?
100%. But I guess the way I look at it, and I mean, this is opinion, this is speculation, this is not confirmed, this is completely speculation, yada, yada, yada. But if Whitney was to tell the truth, what would it be if the truth is Jennifer's account? What could happen to her when she went home? So Johnny's trying to remove that from being a possibility. He's still trying to be a big brother and protector.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I get that vibe very strongly, but that's just my opinion.
Okay. Well, it continues. When Whitney came back from New York, I believe it was for Tribeca Film Festival, the Adderall Diaries premiere or both, she shared with me and everyone in the office that Amber had freaked out, was physically not very nice all of a sudden to Whitney, and threw a wine glass full of red wine at her in the elevator. Now, again, this is a she said thing. So unless there's actual footage of this elevator incident, there's no evidence to really confirm 100% for sure if this actually happened. However, there's two things that stand out to me that I'm thinking, do you know what? There might be possibly some validity in this particular section. First thing is her saying the Tribeca Film Festival, the Adderall Diaries premiere or both. And the second thing is that she didn't just say that Amber freaked out and threw a glass of wine at Whitney, allegedly. She said a glass full of red wine. It's kind of like those kinds of details in that particular statement. It, to me, gives a little bit more validity in terms of that situation because it's not vague. Does that make sense, Kim?
Absolutely. And we know that Amber was very loyal to a specific type of red wine as well.
Yes.
So that would not be super out of the question based on reading this.
Yeah, that $500, $600 a bottle wine.
Yeah.
Like, bloody hell, lass. Woo. So, number 7. While Amber and Johnny were in Australia, here we go, Whitney was in the office sitting in the black and white chairs near the kitchen and loudly proclaimed, OMG, she's done it now. She's cut off his beep finger. Now, this, I'll be very honest with you, don't know. Don't know if I believe that or not. Because Whitney's in the office and she's like, she's done it now. She's cut off his beep finger. Like, I'm sorry, but I don't think I would term it as that. Yeah. I'd just be like freaking out, being like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, Amber's gone too far, Amber's gone too far. You know, instead of just being like, you know, as it says here, OMG, she's done it now, she's, you know, said this. To me, this is too precise. This is too direct. It's very like a controlled response, a controlled kind of explanation of what's happened. But when you, and this is just my speculation here, if I had a friend who was in a similar relationship and had their own Amber moment, let's say, where their finger was damaged, right? And, you know, reduced down to size, let's put it that way. I'd be like, oh my goodness, we've got to get into hospital, we've got to do this, we've got to do that, and oh my goodness, she's gone too far. How did she do this? Why did she do this? Like, I'd be just questions. Why did she do this? What happened? Oh my goodness. Yeah? But this reaction here is way too precise. It's way too controlled. So for me, it's like, I don't know about this bit.
To me, it feels incomplete.
Yeah.
Almost. Yeah, I agree with you.
I just, I don't know.
I-
It's
We would all be losing it. We'd all be like,
Yeah.
what?
it's even if she's not as animated as me, right? Because I understand I'm a special kind of person, and I'll put that nicely. Again, the way that she's termed it is too controlled.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that I'm controlled, don't get me wrong, but damn, I wouldn't be putting it like that. Not at all. Going on to the next part, I knew Paige Heard. Again, this is all alleged, highly disputed by Team Amber in terms of what's said in this document, but also as well how the declaration was obtained, blah, blah, blah. I knew Paige Heard, Amber and Whitney's mother. Paige shared with me whilst I was visiting Whitney that Elon Musk, here we go, had gifted a Tesla or multiple Teslas, not sure if it was one or more, but Amber found out that they were quote unquote bugged. Paige told me that Amber said Elon was controlling, not very nice, and that she was in a legal battle with him over the rights to embryos that they had created together. He wanted to destroy them, and Amber tried to keep them to have a baby. Paige told me that Johnny was either an angel or a saint compared to Elon, and she wished that Amber and Johnny would reconcile. Paige also told me the reason Johnny and Amber broke up was because Amber was too not very nice and emotional and loved Johnny so much that she could not control it. I was indeed taken aback because this conversation occurred after the divorce and when Hunter was only a few months old and I was at Whitney's house. Whitney told me that Amber and Johnny were still in touch and that they were each other's true loves or something to that exact sentiment. Whitney was still going through the emotions of having had a baby and all of those ups and downs, and I could not believe that Amber and Johnny's relationship was being discussed while Whitney was the one who needed to be the focal point and needed our support. So, firstly, do you believe Elon Musk has it in him to freaking bug a Tesla or multiple Teslas that he's gifted to Amber and her friends and family or whatever?
I am not going to pretend to understand the mind of Elon Musk or what he's capable of. I feel like it's every time I think I have him figured out, it's like something else weird happens. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to try. But I am interested in that if Jennifer is taking the stand and they're going to talk about this, Elon has been discussed in this trial. And that would make things very interesting. Very interesting, especially if this jury has not heard anything about this case at all, really. And then this party gets introduced and it's like, they did what now? All of a sudden, everything gets even crazier. And I can just imagine this jury looking at each other being like, what? Like, the guy falling asleep just going, what? Like, what just happened? I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely going to be here. If Jennifer comes up and his name comes up in conversation, I will go get popcorn. I will pause it, go get popcorn, come back, and just let it go and have that moment.
Let me tell you this right now, right? Usually speaking, the majority of the trial, when it's on, I'm actually working my day job. As soon as Jennifer Howell comes on, I'm sorry, but I'll still do my day job. But I'll be keeping an extra close eye, let's put it that way, on what Jennifer's saying. Oh my goodness, is that a testimony I am definitely going to be here for? To me, yeah, I agree with you. Trying to figure out the mind of Elon Musk and what he's capable and not capable of doing is probably like the most futile attempt you could probably ever make on this freaking planet Earth, let alone planet Mars, in terms of, he's already on Mars, guys, at this point. Like, he ain't on this Earth where he's checked out. He's like, bye, Felicia, we're done, laters, right? Do I think he's capable of bugging a Tesla? Yeah. The dude owns Tesla, of course, right? Do I think he actually did it? Now, I don't think so. I really, really think, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, Amber's freaking paranoid as shiz. Paranoid. Proper. Yeah? Especially, you know, with the illicit substances that's come out in the trial in terms of what she was taking, this, that, and the other. That's going to alter some stuff in your brain, surely, right? Again, opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. I just think she's mighty paranoid, right? And especially when we're going through this section here, right? They were in a legal battle over the rights to the embryos that they had created together. There could be an element here of that she was just trying to discredit him in front of everyone to show again, just like she's trying to do in this court case with Johnny Depp, that she's the angel. She's the one that has to put up with all this nastiness, this, that, and the other. It's the other dude's fault. It's not hers at all. She's the angel. He's the monster. And she's carrying on with this narrative, which is so convenient, as Camille Vasquez would say, with Elon Musk, according to this testimony here. So, do I believe he has the what's it to be able to bug a Tesla? All day long. He owns the freaking thing. But do I think he actually did it? No. Do I think that he was controlling and everything else that apparently is alleged here? Controlling to a point? Yeah, I mean, he's a billionaire. You know, there probably is an element of that. I'll be very honest with you in terms of what I believe there. But not very nice. Well, let's put it this way. Unless I'm completely wrong, guys, there's no one that's come out saying that. Other than very recently, and it's only been broken news today, that there is an allegation of SA lodged against Elon. So we're going to have to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
But
it'll be interesting to see. I think there's, I don't know. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to accuse anybody of anything, you know, especially when we really don't have a lot of evidence to back any of it up. If, you know, but I'm sure that if now that someone has come forward, if there's more to it, we'll see the domino.
Yeah.
So I'm holding my judgment.
Yeah, we'll see on that one. Now, this bit here, and it's been absolutely just conspiracized to hell and back about these embryos and the parentage of Una. A lot of people are saying that Una came from these embryos and that Elon is the baby daddy. It's Kim. What do you think? Do you think he's the baby daddy or not?
I could believe that he is how I would answer it. I think it's possible.
Yeah.
I think it's possible. We don't know either way. I would love to know. I don't understand why it needs to be a secret if that's the case. But I don't know. We'll see.
I think it could be possible as well. However, I also think it could be possible that with all the money, the power and the influence and the access that Elon Musk has got, that he was able to successfully block Amber from using those embryos, get them destroyed, and she just got the embryos somewhere else.
Entirely possible.
Entirely possible that that is as well. So I'm actually on the fence of that because a lot of people are very much, no. We really do think that, you know, Elon Musk is the daddy. Makes sense. Well, yeah, but if you think about it and who he is, like I said, he's got the money, the power, the influence, the contacts to proper, you know, push down Amber Heard and be like, no, you're not having any of that. And win quite easily. For her then to get embryos somewhere else and have Una another way. Whether Amber actually has anything on Elon or not that then allowed her to have access to embryos, that's another thing that's being conspiracized, another thing altogether. But I don't know. I think we're going into a little bit me of Fantasyland at that point. But let's continue with this. So, when Amber got into legal trouble, let me get my teeth back in and go again. When Amber got into legal trouble regarding smuggling the dogs into Australia, she asked me to write her a character reference about her charity work, and I did so. We'd given her a humanitarian award. She volunteered with the charity and attended events for the charity. I'm still grateful for that. I knew nothing about her personal life behind closed door until I became close with Whitney. Now, we're going to get onto this later on in this document, but what's really, really screaming out to me is in the divorce settlement, right? She agrees to pledge the money to ACLU and Los Angeles Children's Hospital, right? Where's the Art of Elysium in all of that? Why didn't she include them in the settlement, right? As Jennifer Howell says here, you know, she did so much charity work for them. They gave her a freaking humanitarian award. She attended events. She was heavily involved. A lot more so publicly, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, than the ACLU and the Los Angeles Children's Hospital. So you would have thought on the face of it, at the very least, that she would be negotiating the settlement to go to, at least partly, the Art of Elysium. But we're going to get onto that because Jennifer actually has something to say towards that end in this document. Especially when, you know, they helped her when she was in legal trouble with Australia with those dogs, Pistol and Boo, you know? But she continues, when Amber was in trouble with the Australian authorities, she asked me to write a character letter in support of her, which I did. I wrote on behalf of Amber for volunteering with the charity. Now, here we go. Here it is. Later, when Amber and Johnny were divorcing, $7 million of the proceeds was supposed to go to charity. I learned that none of it would be directed to the Art of Elysium, which Amber had been closely associated with for years. Instead, I understood it will all go to ACLU and LA Children's Hospital. I asked Amber's publicist why, when she and Amber had been so eager to use our name in the press during the divorce, and when the funds would mean so much to a small organisation like ours, would Amber direct all the money to these other two huge charities that she had not been associated with? I'm sorry, but my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, burn, burn, burn. Not only my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, right, is this charity owner, charity CEO, Jennifer Howell, just completely slammed Whitney and her version of events, allegedly. But here we are, a charity owner, CEO of the Art of Elysium, in my opinion, completely burning Amber Heard right now, because she's saying it herself. She had no freaking association with the ACLU and the LA Children's Hospital, not as much as with us. So why the deuce hasn't she included us in this whole divorce settlement of, you know, being donating to charity? We gave her the humanitarian award. We helped her when she was in trouble with the authorities in Australia with the character reference, this, that, and the other. You know? So why? Why weren't we included? Well, Amber's publicist, allegedly, she writes, told me that there were more prominent charities with a more significant press reach and got international press. So in other words, she was going to get more clout announcing that she was going to be donating to the ACLU and the LA Children's Hospital because they were more well-known than the Art of Elysium. That is what it's telling me, in my opinion. Kim, I'll get to you in a moment, but just to finish off this bit. Then months later, a $250,000 donation came into our organisation from an anonymous donor on behalf of Amber Heard. guess what? The funds didn't come from Amber. She believes the funds came from Elon Musk. Ding, 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 ding. Houston, we have a scamber. Oh my freaking goodness. What the deuce? Like, seriously, she's proper, in my opinion, calling Amber out, slamming her hard, saying she volunteered for us. We gave her the humanitarian award. She came to so many of our events. We helped her give her character reference when she was in trouble in Australia with the legal troubles, this, that, and the other. And when it came to the divorce settlement, why didn't she donate to us? Why weren't we included? Apparently, according to Amber's publicist, it's because she wouldn't get much clout donating to us publicly. Because we're not that well known. We're not a big enough worthy charity for her to get as much publicity and clout from. Is what I'm deducing from that, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. Like, oh my God. Like, proper slammed hard. Kim, what are you thinking to that first and foremost before we got into the Elon bit? Oh, goodness.
Oh, gosh. Okay. So here's my thinking. If Jennifer is going on the stand, can they put it? Okay, I'm assuming, this is an assumption, an opinion. If Jennifer was to reach out to Amber's publicist, I could imagine that the conversation may have been through email. If it did go through email, can they publish that? Because it does add to the conversation that we've had previously in this trial, as far as her and her activity with the ACLU and the Children's Hospital. If they can have another piece of evidence that this is how she's treated charities, that doesn't look good for her. So I wonder if that could potentially be a piece of this. And it would be another way for Jennifer to say, no, I was telling the truth. Here's the receipts. I think it could make her a much more credible witness if she could produce that.
So for me, it's a case of, do you know what? They've published other emails, text messages, call recordings. It's not outside the realm of possibility that if there are emails in regards to this particular situation that Jennifer Howell is allegedly saying happened, that they will be submitted into evidence as well. Like, it could be a possibility.
It also illustrates the whole of her going like, I wanted nothing. It's like, no, you obviously wanted good press. You wouldn't donate to any charity. You wanted the ones that were going to make you look like a saint. That's what you wanted. That was the goal. Now, that's an opinion. But I think that would be a very interesting thing to bring to the table. And regardless of its weight on the case with defamation and everything else, I think it's very telling. And in the court of public opinion, I think that could sway some people a little bit.
Yeah.
Just my thinking.
Yeah. But yeah, she wanted nothing. Balls to that, she wanted nothing. I'm sorry. But it's just, not
I wanted nothing
not buying
except
that.
the Range Rover.
Yeah.
Penthouses.
Yeah. What she initially asked for. Exactly right.
Okay.
Exactly. Who are you trying to kid? Oh my goodness. And then this end bit here, months later, a $250,000 donation came into our organisation from an anonymous donor on behalf of Amber Heard, and she speculates that the donation came from Elon Musk. Now, we know from the trial that the ACLU do turn around and said that some money did come from Elon Musk, or allegedly, let's say. So Jennifer Howell saying this 2 years ago, I would say that's credible. To be fair.
It's looking more credible than it ever has.
Yeah. And let's put it this way. I think it was done out of guilt.
It could be.
I think it was done out of guilt with Amber. And if she ever feels guilt, who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I hope she does take the stand. If she does, like, this is going to be explosive. You know it's going to be explosive. Let's get the truth out. But whichever way it is. Let's go. It's gonna be good. I'm here for it. Let's go.
Well, years later, she then writes, on July 24th, 2020, she says, I received 2 subpoenas from Johnny's attorney after Whitney testified about sleeping on my floor following the stairs incident. The following day, I spoke with Johnny's attorney, Adam Waldman, for the first time. Again, just to reiterate all the way through so we can keep it 100, Team Amber completely disputes every single pretty much word of this document. Not only that, but I've read they also dispute how this was all submitted in the first place. So do again bear that in mind as you watch this video either live or on the replay. She then says, I told him the stories of my experiences with Whitney, Paige and Amber Heard, and he asked me to give this declaration, which again, the way the declaration was given, I believe Team Amber heavily dispute that. I shared the names of the Art of Elysium staff who worked during the same time as Whitney, who also heard these things and more, and willingly gave access to my emails, texts to confirm dates and timeline of all stated. So there you go, Kim, in terms of emails and texts, and that's why I said it is in the realms of possibilities, because everything else is being released in terms of texts and emails and call recordings and videos, so why not this? And then, yeah, executed on 26th of July 2020 in Los Angeles, California. I declare under penalty of perjury under the laws of the United States of America and Commonwealth of Virginia that the foregoing is true and correct. Whoo!
Show me the receipts. I want to see the receipts. Share it with the class. Let's go. That's all I ever want. Give me the receipts. I want to see it.
I want to see it. I love that. Share with the class. Let's go. I want to see the receipts. Yes. Yep. Yes. We want to see the receipts. Show me the receipts. Show me the receipts. The receipts. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Do you know what? It's going to be much more powerful if there's receipts to back it up.
Yep.
Much more powerful.
Yep.
And do you know what? A CEO, owner of a charity, to be fair, coming out and saying this, allegedly and all that malarkey again, that's bad.
Well, like, I don't want to I don't want to bring your work into it, but you work for a nonprofit.
Yes.
Don't you? Yes.
Yeah, well,
yes.
no,
So,
not that I work. I actually work for an actual company, but in my spare time, I volunteer as a honorary treasurer for a nonprofit. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be very out of character, then, I would assume.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
That's why I'm asking. Yeah.
Yeah. It just, yeah, for charity to kind of slam someone like that with Amber, in my opinion, she slammed her. Yeah, it's highly unusual. So it just, yeah. There's some, as we went through that document, you know, keeping it 100, there were some bits that, you know, I'm thinking, I don't know, that doesn't entirely make sense. I do question what she's saying there. I think we need a little bit more detail, this, that, and the other. But there's a lot of it where I'm like, why would she be saying that?
Yeah.
If it wasn't, do you know what I mean? But it's Kim. Any final words before we carry on with the rest of the stream? Because, guys, there's an open letter that I found from Jennifer Howell to Whitney after her most latest turn on the stand for the Fairfax, Virginia one that we will be going through for the members only. So, guys, if you haven't done so, do make sure that you become a member today, Popcorn Planeteer, because then you get to see the full replay of today's stream, including the one where we're going to be going through Jennifer Howell's alleged open letter to Whitney after this week's Whitney testimony, because there's a lot that she said there as well. But in terms of this declaration, this document that we've gone through, Kim, do you have any final words about it?
Final words are, I want to see the receipts, share it with the class. This is what I want. That's all I ever want. I just want to see, like, here's the thing, like, we can get so wrapped up in like the drama of it all and everything, but at the end of the day, it's like, these are people's lives, and we need the truth, you know? Like, if it happened, it happened. Let it out. Truth will set you free. Let's go, you know?
Yes, truth will set you free. Let it out. Guys, if you haven't done so already, if you loved what was coming out of It's Kim's Gob and you want to see more, then make sure you go over onto her channel, youtube.com/It's Kim. She released a video a day ago, Justice for Johnny, Free Britney video. She analyses essentially the similarities between the two guys, which I've watched, and it's very, very interesting. So I implore you to have a look on there. And if you loved what was coming out of my gob, a little bit of sassiness and gobbiness on the daily, then make sure you subscribe also to my channel, Steph the Alter Nerd. I break down the news and true crime stories on the daily that pretty much catches my eye, with a lot of Justice for Johnny analysis at the moment on the daily. I do a lot of rants as well. More rants than usual on my own channel because it's my own channel and I can get as ranty as I want. And you guys seem to like that. I enjoy it too. It's a little bit of a release. So that's all groovy, to be fair. And guys, do not go anywhere. The end screen will be coming on now, but this is not the end of the show. We're not going anywhere.
Do not close the window. We're staying.
But for everyone else watching on the replay, thank you very much. Here's some videos you might enjoy. See you later.